the orders of the Supreme Lord. So we have, for example, Lord Ganesh. Lord Ganesh, in the Brahma Samhita, which is the prayers of Brahma, it says that Yad Pada Palava Yogam Vinidaya Kumbha Dandave Pranama Samaye Sa Ganadiraja Vigna Vihantu Alam Asya Jagan Trayasya Govinda Madikosham Tamaham Vajani. So I worship the primeval Lord Govinda. Ganesha always holds his lotus feet upon a pair of tunguli protruding from his elephant head in order to obtain power for his function of destroying all obstacles on the path of progress in the three worlds. So here we see in the Brahma Samhita that Brahmaji is saying what is the true position of Lord Ganesh. So Lord Ganesh is, as we all know, is the destroyer of obstacles. Now where does he get the power to destroy obstacles? It's clearly stated in the Brahma Samhita that Ganesh gets the power by holding onto the lotus feet of Lord Krishna on his head. That is when he's getting the power to destroy all the obstacles. Even in the Brahma Samhita, it also says that how Durga Ma, we are in Devi Dham. We are in the Dham which is controlled by Durga. And in this Devi Dham, the prisoner or the jailer is Ma Durga. But even Ma Durga, she also follows the desires and the instructions and the will of the Supreme Lord. He says here, Shrishti Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Rekha Chayeva Yasya Bhuvanani Viparti Durga Ichhana Rupam. Ichha means the desire, the rupam, to follow. Api Yashaja Shestasesa Govinda Madikosham Namaham Bhajami. The external potency, Maya, who is of the nature of the shadow of the Chit potency, is worshipped by all people as Durga, the creating, preserving and destroying agency of this mundane world. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda in accordance with whose will Durga conducts herself. So we see that different demigods, they are all following Bhagavan or Shri Krishna's will. So the demigods will always follow the will of the Supreme Lord. And the second point is that the demigods, they will grant you your wants, but the Supreme Lord will only grant what you actually need. So, and if things go wrong, the demigods won't come to help you, but Krishna is always there to protect. So, for example, once there was a demon, and he asked for wounds from Lord Shiva. And the wound he asked for was that whoever I put my hand on that person's head, that person is burnt to ashes. And so this demon thought he was very clever. So he decided to use the first trial on Lord Shiva himself. So he started chasing after Lord Shiva to try and kill him by putting his hand on Lord Shiva's head. But Lord Shiva is very clever. He ran everywhere in Brahman and finally went to Lord Vishnu. And then Lord Vishnu took disguise and came before this demon and said that, what are you trying to do here? He said that, I'm trying to put my hands on Lord Shiva's head to try and kill him. And then Lord Vishnu, who is disguised, he says that, I don't think so that is even possible. Have you even tried it? I said, no, I've never tried it before. He said, first try it on yourself, see if it works. and then you go and try and put somebody, like kill Lord Shiva. So as soon as he said, okay, and he put his own hand on his head, he was burnt into ashes. So Lord Vishnu always protects everyone, even the demigods as well. Now, the third point that was mentioned here was that praying for material gains from the Supreme Lord does not equal to pure devotional service. But in the Shriman Bhagavatam, in Canto 2, chapter 3, text 10, Akama sarva kamova moksha kama udarditi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. A person who has broader intelligence, whether he be full of all material desire, without any material desire, or desiring liberation, must by all means worship the Supreme Goal, the personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna. So, even though by coming to Krishna and having material desires, because we are not very pure, that we will come to Krishna and wanting to do executing pure devotional service. So we will have material desires. But even praying for those to Krishna is recommended. Why? Because he is the right source. And if you come to the right source, and by God's grace or through the Vaishnava's grace, you come into association of a pure devotee, chance to then become a pure devotee. And in the Shastras, there is example of Dhruva Maharaj. So Dhruva Maharaj wanted to desire a kingdom so great, even greater than his father. And he set out to go into the jungle and meditate on Krishna as per the instructions of his mother. And on his way to the jungle, he came in contact with Narad Muni, who is a pure devotee of the Lord. And as by being in contact with the pure devotee, he also got to become a pure devotee. And when Bhagavan Shri Krishna came in front of him, he was lost for words. He did not know what to say. And then he was thinking that what I set out for is completely useless. Like I came out, I seeked the Lord for a material thing. But now I don't even want that material thing. So his consciousness had become purified. His consciousness moved from the material level to the spiritual level. And when that happened, Krishna Bhagavan still gave him what he initially desired, and he got his own planet, Dhruva Loka. And that Dhruva Loka was much more opulent than even the Brahma Loka of this world. And another example is of that of Sudama. Sudama went to ask, or he went to Lord Krishna with the hope that he will help him and his family on a material level. But he never actually said that wish of his. He just kept it within himself. But Krishna, being the Paramatma in everyone's heart, he knew exactly what he wanted. But because of Sudama's pure character, that he could actually handle even opulence as great as himself, knowing that it will not distract him from his devotional service. So Bhagavan does give you everything that you desire as long as it does not impede your devotional progression. So Sudama was able to get everything because Sudama was a pure devotee. His consciousness was pure. His consciousness was spiritual. And then the next point is that the worship of demigods is material, while the worship of the Supreme Lord is spiritual. And if it's material, it's temporary, and if it's spiritual, it's permanent. So later on, even in the Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna, now you declare to everyone that whoever becomes my devotee shall never ever perish. Why can he say that? Because Krishna is permanent. He is ever existing. While moons from demigods and from higher beings is temporary, because they themselves are temporary. Brahmaji, he has got a lifetime of nearly 311 trillion human years. So that's a very long time, yes. But it is still a limited amount of time. So even if it's a limited amount of time, any benediction given by any of the demigods is also futile. And we don't have to test this. We can also just infer this from the scriptures. We have two examples of people who tried to get immortality from immortality boons from Brahmaji, but they could not get them because Brahmaji himself said that I am mortal. How can I give you something that I do not have? So we have the examples of Ravan and Hiranyakashipu. And Hiranyakashipu, he asked for 8 different boons to ensure that he cannot be killed. Yet he was killed by Lord Vishnu in the form of Narasimhadev. And Ravan thought he had crossed out every potential class of beings from which he could be killed. And yet he forgot to mention humans and monkeys. And so it was Lord Brahma and his monkey army who came in and killed Ravana. So we don't have to test this. We just have to know this from scriptures, that if you worship the Supreme Lord, the result of that is permanent, because you are purifying yourself to your original constitution, while worship of the demigods is temporary. And now this chapter is known as knowledge of the absolute. So then why does Krishna here talk about the demigods? The demigods are not absolute in nature. They are temporary beings. They are basically living entities who are holding posts, administrative posts of trying to run, of managing the Brahmanda. So why does Krishna give or talk about demigods in the chapter called Knowledge of the Absolute? So here, the knowledge of the Absolute is to know the link between the Supreme Lord himself and the demigods. The link here is that the Supreme Lord is the one who is enabling the demigods to do or to give benefits and to give grants to living entities. Like sometimes in the West we have the myth of Santa Claus. Like when children are very small, then they write on a piece of letter that, oh, I want this for Christmas, and then they post that letter. But actually, it's the mother and father who just open the letter and see what is it that my child desires, and on Christmas they will get the child that gift that they want, and then the child thinks that, oh, it is Santa Claus who has got me this gift. But actually, it's not the Santa Claus. It's the father and mother who has done it. So the father and mother are like the Supreme Lord, and here Santa Claus is like the demigods. So the child believes that Santa Claus has given this to me, but actually it's the parents who has given the gift to them. Okay. Then in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada writes a very nice paragraph comparing the dependence of the demigods and why it is futile. So Prabhupada writes, seeking shelter of a demigod instead of worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead is compared to trying to cross the ocean by grasping the tail of a dog. A dog can swim, but that does not mean that one can cross the ocean by grasping a dog's tail. So it's an eye-opening statement by Prabhupada. It just shows the futility of worshipping demigods. It's best to go to the source not only of living entities but also of the demigods. Source of everything is Krishna. And a bit of a crude example is that just like how a pure devotee is like a chaste wife, it remains loyal to worshipping only Krishna. It does not go, they do not go anywhere. Just like a chaste wife remains loyal to her husband. Now imagine if there was an unchaste wife and she took any man in the street to be an object of desire. What respect and what would go through the husband's mind? He will not want to care for her because she is just going out and mingling with everyone else. So, being living entities, if we can remain chaste and be pure devotees of Krishna, then at least we will be able to have loyal and have a relationship with Krishna, and He will reciprocate with us. He will take care of us. But if somebody is going everywhere like, oh, this person will save me, this person will save me, or this entity will save me, or this demigod will save me, in fact, that person doesn't really have any faith in any of them. If they're going everywhere, that means that person doesn't have faith in any of the demigods. He's just looking out for himself. He's not looking for any connection, as to say. So Krishna says that either you come to me, or if you have an affinity for a demigod, I will give you the faith to at least stick to one. Because if you stick to one, then you can gradually progress and become regulated and sincere in your one-pointed devotion. It is even said that if one person worships Ganesha for 1,000 births without any sin, then he might get a chance to come into a Vaishnava family. So even just devoting yourself to one demigod eventually will get you into a Vaishnava family, and then you can come to Krishna, come to the source. So just to recap all the points, we have that the demigods will always follow the will of the Supreme Lord. The demigods will grant you your wants, but the Supreme Lord will grant you only what you need. And then, if you pray for material gains from the Supreme Lord, it does not equate to pure devotional service, but it is still good. It is still recommended. Even Krishna says, the people who come to him for material gains, it's just in the last few texts. It says here. All these devotees are undoubtedly magnanimous souls, but he who is situated in knowledge of me, I consider to be just like my own self. So he's saying that there were four characters of people who approached the Supreme Lord, and all of them are considered to be magnanimous by Krishna's opinion. That is his opinion, and his opinion is to be taken as truth. So they are magnanimous because they have come to the right source, and it's only a matter of time after getting association of pure devotee that they will also become pure devotees. And then the next point was that the worship of demigods is material in nature because it's all temporary, while worshipping Supreme Lord is spiritual in nature and it is a permanent feature. And that the power that the demigods get is all coming from Shri Krishna. Any questions? Any questions anyone has? Otherwise, Gandhi Shriman Bhagavad Gita ki, Shri Prabhupada ki.